Welcome to Golden Chat, where we provide straight talk. Each week, we deliver great insights about assisted living and overall senior living. I'm your host, Stella, with your co-hosts, Lana and Pedro. Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, everyone.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, actually. Let's talk a little bit about senior living and what it entails. It ranges from independent, supportive, assisted. It's a location that offers 24-hour care. It'll coordinate with personal needs and assists. So we're gonna jump right into our hot topic today. And as everyone's aware, how do I conceive? How do I convince my senior or my loved one to go to an assisted living facility?
Well, and before we do that, let's talk about the quick hot topic of the day, Pedro, so we can address the coronavirus. Could you speak on that for a bit before we go into that question?
Gotcha. Sounds like a plan. So, as everyone knows, the coronavirus, COVID-19, it's affecting many of individuals. The aspects of if you're experiencing any fever, cough, or sneezing, it's important that, and you've been in contact with the individual who's been exposed and tested positive, it's imperative that you isolate yourself for 14 days. In an assisted living facility, there's going to be limited entrance into the facilities. Family members are allowed to visit, but it's recommended that everyone try their best to allow the most vulnerable adults to be safe. We would say that the assisted living is an isolated environment. So basically most of, any viruses that are going to be exposed to the seniors are going to come in. So it's imperative that we keep them safe by limiting their exposure. Hospice is allowed definitely to come in. They're going to take those precautionary cares. All medical professionals and our first responders are allowed to come on in. There is a sheet that has to be filled out for all visitors for the facilities, and that's just to ensure the safety of the residents again, and making sure that the individuals that are trying to come in are not exposed. So again, washing hands 20 seconds as many times as possible. Thanks, Lana.
Thank you, Pedro. Our question was, we had a caller named Mark. His dad is currently living in a high-rise condo. And so he's been independent, lost his wife years ago, living by himself, doing overall okay. But Mark is now concerned that his father may need to transition into an assisted living facility. And he's really nervous about addressing that question with his father. He feels like his father is going to get very angry at him. And he is just having a lot of anxiety and worrying a lot over how to basically start that dialogue. And with that said, Mark, what I would like to do is really address your feelings and your father's feelings as well. Because first of all, your father is going to feel like you're trying to take some control away from him. He's an adult, and now you're kind of stepping in the position of trying to be almost kind of what he's going to feel like as the parent. And he's not going to like that at all. He's going to be upset about that. So first of all, you need to empathize with his feelings, kind of put yourself in his shoes and think about what he's going to be going through, which is he's going to be upset. He's not going to probably like that conversation that you're going to start with him. So I would say empathize with him first and foremost. Second of all, when you approach your father, then if your father is a little resistant and he is a little bit angry, then you start that conversation with stating, Dad, I know that, you may be a little bit upset, and I hear that you're a little bit angry at me, but, my concerns are that you may need to transition into an assisted living facility, and I would like to talk to you about that. So first and foremost is addressing the feelings, because it's going to create a lot of anger. It's going to create a lot of stress and emotions between both of you guys. So I would look at that first. And then also, I know that there's, we're going to ask that question of why do you think that he needs to transition in an assisted living facility?
And I think that's the main question, because It's looking at things from two different point of view. The point of
Mhm.
view of a senior, as you said, that's always been living by themselves or living now by themselves, thinking they're okay, not even realizing that they may not be, and then you being able to recognize some signs. And I would like to talk about those signs, and you guys are really well placed to be able to talk about them. But
Uh-huh.
let's talk about those signs that are objective signs that somebody is maybe declining in their ability to be by themselves and would need the help of an assisted living.
Well, it sounds like Mark, he's experienced some things with his dad. If an individual, if you see someone, and medication is going to be the most important piece. So when medication, if they're missing their dosage, that's a red flag.
Mm,
Especially in certain, and there are certain diagnoses where that can just end up to be a very, an emergency room visit. So with that being said, we want to ensure that individuals are taking their medication. Are they eating properly? Are they
yeah.
eating at all? Cooking is it's a safety concern, because a lot of individuals live in if you don't live in a single family home, you live in a condo or an apartment that are interconnected, and if a
Mm,
fire starts
Mhm.
in an apartment where someone is having difficulties, it's going to automatically affect the individuals to the right, left, on
true.
top and down. So those are things
Mhm.
that we need to take into consideration. And of course, for Mark, I'm assuming that he's employed full time, and it sounds like he's having issues concentrating because he's worrying about his dad. So like Lana said, the empathy issue is going to be important, because you know your father, you have a relationship with him, you're going to want to be, hey dad, I'm really concerned here because there's some things that are happening. You may
Mhm.
want to talk to the doctor, or the doctor may have already
Mhm.
made mention. So each situation is going to be different, but those characteristics of what's going on in the home, in the aspects of safety, those are the issues that you're really going to want to discuss, because those are going to hit home.
Yeah, true.
That's true. And there's a lot of, like Pedro was mentioning, there's a lot of red flags. It could be a decline in your physical appearance. Maybe they're skipping meals. They're not, getting all their meals, and then that creates a safety issue. Now, because they're not eating well, they're not taking their meds well, on time. That's going to now affect their sleeping. So it becomes a snowball effect. So really looking at what symptoms that possibly your father is having and what reasons why you think that would benefit him into an ALF. And sometimes it's just the fact that as we age and we are alone, we start to isolate. And when we isolate, that is not healthy, because isolation usually leads to some type of depression. So the one positive thing about an assisted living facility is they offer 12 hours of activities per week. So not only is he getting assistance and supervision, now he's getting social engagement. And that is social engagement is very, very healthy. Every study out there will show that social engagement actually keeps you healthier than you being by yourself. Loneliness will only lead to more and more signs of eventually depression. So we want to prevent that. Not only do we want to provide love and care, but we want to prevent that social isolation, because it's truly not very healthy.
And
Um,
forgetfulness is a big one, Lana.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Correct. Because, the one thing that he mentioned, and, because he is actually a caregiver, he's been going over to his father's house on a weekly basis, filling those
Mhm.
medication pill boxes. And so he's having to keep up with going to the pharmacy, making sure the medication's filled on time. And his father's not the one that's actually doing that. So med management becomes a big aspect of assisted living facilities, and that it not only creates stress on the son, it's also could be unsafe if that father's not taking the medications on time. But one thing I would like to really mention as well is not only understanding his feelings, but also dealing with yours, because it's going to create within you a lot of anger and probably anxiety and stress and even fear, because you're fearful to address the situation. So there's a lot of resources out there for people to
True.
go to, whether it's your church, whether it is, a support group,
Or
or
family members.
Yeah, and there's other options for you as well as, potential, psychologists, but also going out there and maybe going to the library and getting those books that actually help with, spiritual development. But really, truly, you need to address the feelings that you're having as well as the feelings that your father's having.
And I'll say, if you have some places in mind, you may want to just stop in, get those brochures, bring them over to your dad's, and in those times that he has his private times, he can go through those and look at those things. And if there's individuals out there that I would say you may want to start early also, because you may not be Mark. However, you may be a Mark of the future. Talk about what your plans are for your future with your family. If you have a will, or if you have a surrogate, whatever the situation is, these aren't topics that we should avoid. These are topics that we should embrace. So being prepared is what's most important. Start
Mark,
early.
let me tell you, we are here to help you. So if you have any concerns about placement, then please call us, because we are here to provide you those answers, and we can also help place your father when that time comes. So definitely we are here to assist you in all different ways. We appreciate the fact that you called in with that question, because this is a question that most all family members deal with, and they always have questions and concerns. So your question is amazing. Thank you for that. And once again, please call or email us, because we can assist you with that placement service if you need it. So visit us on Easier Living for You, or call us at 407-794-7277, or email us at hello@easierlivingforyou.com.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And join us next week at 12:45 on Golden Chat.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Stella. Bye, Pedro.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.